Welcome back, and a Two on Your Side original tonight. We're following up on reporting from last night about the Niagara Falls storage site and the people who live near the property that contains hundreds of thousands of tons of waste from the Manhattan Project.
Well, tonight, Two on Your Side's Nate Benson takes us to the site to ask the Army Corps of Engineers about the plan to clean it up.
At the end of a long driveway off Pletcher Road in the town of Lewiston sits a few barricades and a fence, a sign indicating a restricted area beyond the gate. It's the Niagara Falls storage site, home to over 390,000 tons of radioactive waste from the Manhattan Project, filled with uranium, radium, R10, L30, L50, boron, TNT, and residues from dozens of other volatile chemicals. The fight to clean it up has been waged since the 1970s.
It was the federal government and the state arguing who's responsible, who's going to clean it up, realizing it has to be cleaned up, and they've been spending millions there.
Vince Agnello from the advocacy group Residents for Responsible Government fought for years to get the Manhattan Project-era waste removed. Since 1997, the Army Corps of Engineers has been tasked with developing a plan to remediate the site, and now they've awarded a $40 million contract to begin Phase 1 of completely removing the waste. The first phase will address the areas outside the interim waste containment site seen here.
And what the contractor is going to be doing for us is developing a work plan in this first phase to help us understand how they're going to safely move these contaminated soils off-site so that there's no risk at all to human health outside of this facility.
Just how much contaminated soil, things like that, are we dealing with here?
It's 137 football fields that we're going to be looking across. We've been sampling and doing investigations along this site for many years and understand exactly where these pockets of contaminants are.
Seen on this map here, contamination is still scattered throughout the site near the interim containment waste site, where the majority of the Manhattan Project waste is stored under a clay cap. Historically, some of the contaminants on the site have been residues from uranium, radium, thorium. I mean, is that the stuff you're going to be dealing with this first phase?
Yes, so radon, which is, a kind of a byproduct burn off from radium, thorium, that kind of thing. Some of those in the little pockets that we're talking about moving off site. Moving the soils and moving that water.
Plans will be finalized after a public meeting next February, and it will take another year to remove the radioactive material from the isolated areas on the site. Once that's done, the Army Corps will begin uncovering and removing the hundreds of thousands of tons of waste from the interim waste containment site. That will cost roughly $500 million.
It's one of those deals where when you roll something out and hear something, and one of the things we heard was, remove it, get rid of it, and we listened as an organization, and that's the path we took.
Now, part of the design phase right now is figuring out what truck routes they can safely take. That's going to take probably the rest of this year and into next year after that public meeting. The overall deadline for this project, it's not a hard timeline, but the Army Corps of Engineers hopes to have all this wrapped up by 2040. On your side in the studio, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.